am Rafael Ranieri, one of OutSystems MVP, the same as Leo, João, and John, and in the future, hopefully, Osama. And also a tech lead on Phoenix DX. Today, my dev tip for you guys is to create to show you a way to create external synchronizations in a easy and organized way. Okay, uh, so let's start what it is. The generic sync pattern, uh, in other words, is a forge component that I created uh, to help us to create these external synchronizations. It is basically a set of actions and scripts that implement some generic actions that you have to customize. So it's not something that you uh, will not have to code anything. It is it is a set of generic actions that you have to actually customize. What it does, as I said, it helps to create standards for your data synchronizations, your external synchronizations, following well-defined best practices recommended by OutSystems. It also will provide a set of out-of-the-box features for all your synchronizations. Okay, why I did it? Okay, this is, I think, the most important question uh, that I can answer right now, because over the years, almost all the projects that I participated and I was part of had uh, these requirements, like to synchronize something from external database or external base of any sort. Uh, and I noticed that the customer always asked for the same thing. For example, the ability to configure the periodicity of the streams, or the ability to see the history of the synchronizations, or to see what went wrong in this synchronization. So over the years, I realized that I could create a pattern to help me in the future. And this is why I did it. One of the benefits of this component is to first ensures the code reusability, because it will uh, practically have all the actions already done, right? You will be able to reuse a lot of the actions for the common features. The second benefit is that it will be easier to maintain, because all the common behaviors, all the common features will be the same code, right? And it will provide out of the box features, the same features for all your synchronizations. Okay. So how can you use it? First of all, like I said, since it is a Forge component, you have to download it from Forge. The second step is to clone and rename the module to ensure you can use it multiple times. This is a very important step, because in case you have multiple projects, multiple applications inside your environment, you want to make sure that they have an independent life cycle. So ideally you want to create one synchronization module for each of your projects. Okay, so clone and rename it, the second step. The third step is basically to customize your actions, the actions that you will need to implement your own logic. When you download the component, you will see that we have some folders called generic samples. Okay, here we have sync generic samples and sync generic samples multiple runs. They are different types of runs. I will say more about that if I have time in the ends, but for the sake of the demonstration, I will focus on the simpler one, which is the normal generic sample. Okay. So the third step is to customize these two actions. These two actions Basically, what you will have to do is very minor changes inside these two actions. The first one, which is the sync generic action, is meant to fetch all the data from the external source that you want. So basically, what you have to do is change the source action that will retrieve the data. And the second action, which is the commit single generic sample, is an action that you have to customize to implement your own rules, your own set of rules. For example, let's say that I have a requirement to synchronize a department list. However, if the department doesn't have a name, I don't want to commit this into inside my database, right? I want to raise an exception. So here would be the place where I would implement all the rules, all the specific rules and business logic that I need for these specific records. Uh, inside the Forge components, guys, on the documentation, you will find a very detailed manual that links to a Medium article to help you to all steps that you have to do to use properly these components. So I will not detail a lot of the steps here, but uh, keep in mind that all these details are already done in the documentation. What I will try to show you today is a showcase of the application to show you what you can have, what are the common features that you will have if you decide to use these components. Okay, so let's do it. Just uh, a very short introduction to the demo. Here, what I will do is that I will try to consume a REST API. Okay, the synchronizations that I will show are consuming a REST API that will try to sync departments or employees. Okay, so this is the the initial screen, the main screen of the application. Here you will have, okay, session expired. Let me log in again. Here you will see all your synchronization types. So the component will also helps you to centralize the the synchronizations. Okay, so here is the main screen. I can see the types of synchronizations that I have. If I go inside it, I can define the periodicity that I want it to run. If I want to run in minutes, hours, or days, I can define it as active or inactive. I can even see here all the history that I have for the synchronizations. You can note that since it is scheduled to run every day, it has some old schedules that that happened in the past. If I go inside each history, I can see how many items were synchronized inside this specific synchronization. It's important to say that it also has a mechanism to delete some old logs, so you will not have the full log history here. I have, I think, just the last 3 months because I chose to keep just the last 3 months. And I can also start manual run if I want. For some reason I want to trigger on demand the synchronization. I can also do that with this pattern. Okay, a last case that I want to show you guys that I defined it before we started is if I have any errors inside my synchronization. Here I forced an error to occur. I deleted some of the departments from my database manually, and this raised an exception on the employee synchronization because each employee uh, has to have a department by default, and if I don't have, I have a check where I see that I can't find a department in my database and I raise an exception. And what happens in this case is that for each records that I try to synchronize and I don't find a department, I create an error in my synchronization, and I don't synchronize that specifically records. However, it doesn't mean that I will not synchronize all the other records that are successful. So here we can see that 38 items were synced successfully and 17 items failed to sync. And I can see which items failed in a very easy way so I can properly handle these errors. Here I just want to show you guys the the documentation that I mentioned. You will see that help you define necessary all the necessary steps to create your synchronizations as you want. Here you will see what you have to change, what you have to implement in your own customization, and that's it.